Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of the Takeout Effect, brought to you by Business Takeout. The Takeout Effect brings real conversations to in business. I'm your host, and my name is Banki. Today's guest is Jarrod Greene. He's a serial entrepreneur. He has over 20 years' experience in the fashion design industry and apparel merchandising business. So, Gerald, can you tell everyone a little bit about who you are? And
Yeah, how you doing? My name is Jarrod Greene, and I'm the owner of a company right now called Go Green. And basically, we have evolved from a lot of different things that I've done in the past, namely apparel. So underneath that whole Go Green moniker, we have other businesses that we do. Primarily, it's design, production, um, consulting, um, all these different type of things that encompass the power industry. So, we work with a lot of startups, intermediate type businesses, existing businesses. So this is what we're currently doing right now.
okay, great. So just so everyone can have an overview, currently your current business is Go Green, and there is a brand behind this business, a clothing brand called Pass It. And before Pass It had existed, or even I would say before Go Green hasn't existed, there was Pass the Rock, which was your first venture into the clothing industry. Can you tell us a little bit behind what led you on that path, how everything started?
Well, I mean, I come from the entertainment world from back in the early '90s. I'm telling my age, right? So back in the early '90s, I had my start in the entertainment. I used to do promotions and things of that nature. I was very one of the more pioneers when it came to entertainment promotions, giving big events, parties back in the early '90s. During that time when I was the big guy in New Jersey doing it, video music box and everything like that. On the other side of New York was Sean Puffy Combs, right? So he was that guy. So we were kind of doing the same things at the same time, and Puff went on to do other things such as music and clothing, and to where he is right now. And we did the same things just as well. I got into entertainment as well. I had a group called Format at one particular time. After Format, I kind of like got out of the entertainment business because it was upsetting my household at the time, right? Always around parties, always around women. So it wasn't a good thing back then. So I got into apparel. There was this guy that everybody may not know or should know, which was Carl Kanai, which is actually he was the first like black urban designer. So it was just like wow, it was exciting to see during that time that there was an entrepreneur, a black guy just like myself, who was actually paving the way for designing. So I was just like, wow, it was just like amazing just to see that, we grew up, wearing, you know, polo and, Ralph Lauren and Tommy Hilfiger and all these different brands, but to see, someone that was the same color as me just actually doing something like that, that was intriguing. So, as things continued to progress and Carl and I began to get big, I was like, wow, you know, this is pretty good. So I was just like, there was a term that was a slang in basketball, and the term was called "pass the rock," which actually means pass the ball. So while everybody
Mm,
was evolving, you had Karl Kanai, you had Fubu, these guys back then, academics and all those guys. I was just like, wow, pass the rock could be a really cool, basketball brand. As a matter of fact, a good fashionable basketball brand, So we kind of like, delved into that. I had a partner at that time by the name of Ahmed Lago, who we had partnered, became partners like 4 or 5 months before he actually started, for Fubu. He started working for Fubu. So he was kind of like one of the creative geniuses behind the scenes with Fubo, but at the same time, he had just became my partner prior to working at Fubu. So I got to partner up with such a creative guy, and we actually just, just kept pushing forward.
So why and that's a great I'm liking how everything is like your journey is so far. Why did you do a clothing brand instead sorry, why did you do a basketball clothing brand in opposed to urban other streetwear?
Well, the whole thing with that is just like, after other people started finding out about, Call Kanai, these other brands started popping up. I wanted to do something that was different. I wanted to do something that was more niche, right? When you think about basketball, you think about, music. You have rappers who are trying to be basketball players. You have basketball players who are trying to be rappers. And basketball was a street sport, right? Everywhere you go is basketball. It was about the hood. It was about going to the basketball courts, and it was fashion at the basketball court. So Pastor Rock kind of like embodied that. Like, let's create something that, when these basketball players could come off the court, they had something fashionable that represented basketball, but still looked kind of cool. So we just started doing like different, fabrications, different silhouettes. We had the velour suits with Pastor Rock on it. We had, we had track suits. We had like warm up suits, basketball. They were made of different nylons, different tricot. So we had some really hot items during that time. If folks do the research and you go Google Pastor Rock without K, and you look up images, you'll see all that stuff that came early on. So we did it. We did it kind of big back then.
Yes, you did. So this is a brand that started in 1994, and then in 2003 you decided to take your brand globally. So you had distribution in Canada. Can you really, I believe even Europe? Can you really describe like what happened and how did you get on that journey?
Well, basically, what happened? There was a show in a trade show in Las Vegas. It's called the Magic Show. The Magic Show is a big trade show where all the big brands are. You have Fubu, you have Sean John, you have Dada Supreme, you had, you name it, you know, it was there. Rockaware, P. Miller at that time. Everybody was doing clothing. So you go to this trade show, right? And at the trade show, you set up your booths. Everybody had, trying to make the best booth, because what happens is retailers throughout the whole country and the world come to this particular trade show. So at this particular trade show, you have not the nice booth. So at that time, I had a big booth, and I had, the basketball court all set up in the court, and you got a lot of celebrities and who's who walk the actual floor, because it was a big thing to go to. So you had I had Floyd Mayweather at one time. He came through back then, and Floyd Mayweather was in my booth. Was We had the hoop up and everything. It was really cool. So he was shooting hoops and took his jewelry off, was shooting hoops. He came through, and then NBA Hall of Famer Kenny Anderson. You may know Kenny Anderson from Basketball Wives, Tammy, and all that. Well, he came through, and then he was a guy who actually was supposed to invest in the brand, but later on became a very good friend of mine. So you have all these notables coming through. So what happens is, when you have these type of people around your booth, that attracts everyone else. So it just happened to be this particular distributor from Europe came by, and he seen all the excitement, and that brought attention to our booth, and he was like, wow, I got to have this brand, you know, over in Europe. So, I met him, we talked about it, we got on the phone, and that's what happened. I mean, we cut a deal. Um, we instantly became, global, because he was shipping to places like Holland, Denmark, Switzerland, Germany. It got so big that, we actually did like a Pass the Rock tour with me, my med, my financial backer, Rick Davey, who's one of our guys, was a creative director for us. We all flew over there, and like when we got off the plane, like we was just like celebrities. Even before all of this is happening, like we have, you know, social media right now. If you would have seen it, it would have been a sight to see, because it was just unreal for me. When we got off, we were treated like celebrities at that time, because our clothing was in all these stores, and they called them shops, right? They called them shops over
Mm-hmm.
there. It was just that they were whisking us through, airports, and we were really protected. It was a really good experience. So, and through that distributor, I met another distributor for Canada. So we had a distributor out of Quebec. So we were up in Canada. Then we met some people down in Florida, and we were in the islands like Aruba. You know, all those different islands were able to get our goods. So we were the best kept secret brand, and we didn't have a lot of promotion and marketing because we didn't have a lot of marketing dollars back then, but we knew so many people when it came to the brand. So we had stylists, we had a wardrobe people, and they took our clothing, they product placed it real well. So, and when we had our presence in the stores, people seen the goods and was like, wow, you come into the store, you see the goods, you like them automatically. So my partner Ahmed Lago, he did such a beautiful dye. If you were buying Fubu during that time, you were buying Past the Rock, because it was kind of like it's like the same designer was designing it, but just with this different twist to it. So it was a good time. It's a good time.
Nice. Um, so I believe your clothes, the Pastor Rock was featured in The Wire, and in R. Kelly videos and some other rappers' videos, correct?
Yes, I mean if you go back and you look at closely at some of those stuff like Chingy video, some R. Kelly stuff, you know um, Bone Crusher out of Atlanta, EPMD. We were on The Wire, Wardrobe Department, Endless Magazines, Double XL Vibe. They were all pulling product from us, and they were product placements. So we always had Danny Glover and the Cookout. I mean, if you look at all these different clippings, if you look closely, if you see Past the Rock, you're like, wow, there we are. So we had a lot of product placement, which was good. But back then we didn't have a lot of advertising dollars, so we couldn't advertise in the source at Double XL because those were $15,000-$20,000 ads. So we had to go through the back door. We had to say, hey, look at
Right.
this product right here. This product is good. We just as good as anybody else. Take a look at this product. Once you looked at the product and felt the quality, you couldn't deny it. So that's what we sold on. Hmm.
So, what was your toughest challenges when it came with your first brand? It was something new. You ventured into it. It was becoming really successful. Even though you didn't have the marketing dollars, you still was creative in finding different ways to bring it through. What was your toughest challenges on that journey?
The challenge is just like anything else, right? I mean, when you're sitting in a store next to, and your clothes is next to, Fubu, who LL was back in, Sean John Puffy was back in, Rockaware, Jay-Z was backing, Academics, Fabulous was backing. All these brands had celebrities pushing their brands. Back then we didn't have anybody. At the time we had, Joe Buttons. I had tried to meet up with Joe Buttons. We were from the same city, Jersey City, and I tried to cut a deal with him at that time. And he knew me, but he didn't want to actually he didn't meet like we were supposed to meet. And he was a target person because as I was coming up during that time, he was just coming out with his single called Focus, and the other single that he had. So it didn't work out. So we just had to be as creative as we possibly could be, because those guys they were attached to those particular brands. And if you wanted to grab a guy like that or any type of celebrity, they want 100,000, 150,000 to sign with you. And we didn't have that. I mean, my financial backer, he was more of a manufacturer who had ties into a career and everything like that. I mean, he had credit lines where he was able to make the goods,
Hmm.
and if the goods would perform, in the stores, we could take it and flip it. But it wasn't flipping fast enough. It took some time, and we had to keep up with the seasons, right? Every year you got to have seasons to make new goods. So, if we didn't, we made goods for one season, and the next thing you know, here's another season. So if those goods didn't sell out from that season, how can you afford to take money from the first season to produce goods for the second season? So then we had to dump goods. We had to take goods and put it in TJ Maxx, stores like Winners, like up you have in Canada, stores like that to kind of like, just to get rid of the goods, to liquidate the goods. So it had to be, it got to be a real problem for the financial backer, and he was like, "Oh, I just can't take it. I can't keep up with this. I'm gonna have to really shut this down because I have tons of goods here. We have to liquidate them. I got to get my money out of those goods in order to go forward." And it was like a terrible cycle for him. It was good for us, but
Yeah.
it's bad for him. So you need those marketing dollars to actually push those goods out of the store. We were performing in large parts of America, namely the Midwest, the South, but the Northeast, if it ain't no rapper wearing it, they like, I don't want to touch it. They're a different type of customer.
Yes. And how was it like being from New Jersey? Um, how was it like really going, trying different things and going different places around the states and even in Europe? What was that experience like for you?
Well, I mean, for me, I'm just a guy from Jersey City, right? I'm just a guy from Jersey City who took three words and made it global, right? It was exciting for me to actually see all this happen, right? So it was a lot of trial. It was a lot of you know I put my own money out there. I chanced rent money. I had evictions behind it. I had bad credit behind it. I've had you know I had friends that got involved early part of it. They lost money behind it. So it was a real struggle. It was a real challenge. But I just kept going. I just kept going. I just kept going. But we never got to the point where we actually made, me and my partner, like a big amount of money to say, hey, listen, you know what? We're rich. We got a couple of 100,000 in the bank or something. We could do something. No, we got salaries. We got notoriety. We got the business off the ground. But if we had just 1 to 2 more years, we would have really hit where we needed to hit. So but it never got to that point. So in 2005, we had to shut it down. We had to shut Past the Rock down.
Okay. Well, I believe everything is divine timing, and sometimes in life, it takes you in a different path. And at the end of the day, you would see the end result. You would see the real purpose, and after you see the results, you'll see the purpose behind it all. So moving forward to 2001, um, we're looking at your new brand, which is Past the Rock. Sorry, Past It brand. So can you tell me more about Past It and when it started?
Well, Past It came in 2013, right? And I was trying to revive Past the Rock a little bit, and then I was working with another designer buddy of mine, and Past It was actually a term, that was going to be a graphic on the actual Past the Rock goods, because it was relative. You pass the rock and you just pass it. But it became so cool, and I was like, how? Wow, you know what? I can just take pass it and just make it anything. You know what I mean? I can make it
Mhm.
multi sports. There's all kind of things you can pass, and we just need to just take pass it and turn that into a brand. So that's what we did. 2013 came rolling around, and during that time, it was just like, it was tough. There was things going on. I wasn't in the best financial space. I had to go back to work, and then I touched on it here and there, and then I've been trudging along, and then when I finally was able to last year kind of like really hook up with the designer who had time to do it, which was the same guy I was talking to, Mustafa Fares. aka Moose, okay, who's a creative genius. Um, we we got together and we created fire, right? We created serious fire, right? So when we were getting this thing together, uh, guess what happened?
COVID.
COVID. COVID-19 is here. The pandemic is here. So that's put a little damper on things.
Yes, definitely. Definitely does. Just rewinding, you mentioned with the password, I saw that there was a slogan, when the game stops, can you tell me how it goes? When the game stops, when the play stops, the game starts, or something like that?
Yeah, it was something, that was Moose's, brainchild when came to that, and he's more, that came from him, it's just like, how did you describe it? When the game started, he described it basically like, it's life is about a game in some sort. When you start it, whenever you stop playing games, you're able to start life. At taking it serious and making everything possible.
Yeah,
My slogan for pass it is pretty much, it's more like a, and you'll see it on the goods coming out, it's more like, hard work is easy work. And the whole thing behind that is just basically like, I'm used to hard work. Like whatever I do in life, I go hard at it. So I've been going hard at things for so long, it becomes easy. So that's kind of like more like what fits into my moniker of what passion is all about. You know, that's how I really take a look at that, and I view things in life.
okay. And just so everyone know, we're gonna announce a giveaway, most likely tomorrow, with Pass It.
Yeah,
So
yes, we're gonna give out some good stuff, right? We're gonna give out.
yes, we are.
We're gonna do some passive teas, right? Let's see. Can you see that? Like some passive teas,
Yep.
right? Cool, right? And for the ladies, we got some passive dad hats. On the weekend, right? You could just throw some jogger pants on, right, and just like put your little ponytail in the back. We're doing some leggings. We're doing some crop tees. We're doing some crop hoodies. For the fellas who like, snapbacks, we're doing fluorescent black. We're doing some great things, when it comes to that, right? P for pass it. Yeah. You
Yes,
know,
love
yeah.
it.
We're doing some other colors. We have red, you know, can't forget red, right? Red is
Exactly. That's
that's
actually my favorite color.
the cover. I gotta get you one. I gotta get you one back. And this is kind of like, we're doing some campers. This is kind of like the first run we had, which was past,
Hmm.
kind of like vintage right now when it comes to the blocking, because if you can see right there, you see two words pass it, but we have thus revised everything, so it's all now one word, pass it. So we got some great things to come. you know um, Probably within the next 6 months, you'll be seeing more stuff actually materializing, because we're behind the scenes right now and really getting things to come to fruition.
Okay. So look out for our post. We will be posting it on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and Instagram. We'll be posting the details of this contest tomorrow. Uh, so you mentioned COVID, right? When COVID hit, you had to really change the way that you're doing things. And a lot of, and this is where Go Green comes in. Can you talk to us more about what Go Green is and the services that you're offering?
Well, basically, Go Green is, like I said, we're a business consulting company. We do a plethora of things underneath this business. When you go to gogreenllc.com, you'll see our menu of services. So being that, um, the COVID, the pandemic, has birthed a lot of entrepreneurs, right? A lot of entrepreneurs don't know how to get business started. They don't know how to get into the fashion industry. They don't know how to create apparel companies. But guess what? We do. So since we know how to do it because we have a wealth of over 20 to 25 years behind us, you can come to us. You can you can consult with us. We pick and choose now on who we work with based on seriousness, right? Can't call me up and just pick my brains. No, we've been doing this for a long time. You can't call us unless you're serious. We screen, we vet everybody we work with because it's about being serious, right? So the knowledge that we have has been able to actually make other brands develop and happen. We have a client right now. It's called the Jill Jones Statement, and this is a young lady out of Jersey City who has her, her brand that she's putting out right now. She's been featured in the Jersey Journal. She's doing amazing things right now. Amazing things. She's very serious. She's official when it comes to her business. Her goods are actually checking right now, retail. Um, she's doing so well. She's going to be something to watch. And she came to Go Green. So, and she listens, right? The most important thing is for one to listen. One listen and accepts consulting, and they are willing to take their money and invest in themselves. That's when you're going to get something. Without putting skin in the game, it's not going to happen. If you're thinking you're going to call me up and I'm going to be on the phone with you for half hour, just sitting here rattling things off. No, take a look at the resume, get your Google on, find out we've been around for a long time. And, if you're very serious, we can be able to help you.
Yes. So thank you for that. If you before you go, because we're getting close to the time, if you had any tips to give to anyone that's starting off their own clothing line or apparel merchandising, what would you suggest to them?
These are the tips is like, be serious, right? Be serious. Like, if you're not willing to take your own money and invest in yourself, then why would anybody else do? Right? It's not going to happen, right? I'm not going to invest my time, my energy, my knowledge in someone who's not going to do anything with it. So just like any other business, right? We're a service company. You have to pay for services, right? So
That's
you got to be very, very serious. You got to have a focus beyond what is normal and an unbridled passion for what you believe in. If you don't have that, you're in trouble. If you're not willing to lose money, if you're not willing to take a chance on yourself, then this is the wrong business to be in. When it comes to anything that you're doing. So not everybody can be an entrepreneur. Not everybody can take shorts. Not everybody can take risks. Not everybody can take stress. Not everybody can take, you know, um, advice, right? So
mhm.
therefore, it might not be for you, and it's okay. Not everything is for everybody. Sometimes you might be better off like, hey, listen, you know what? I'd rather go to work and get my check, and there's nothing wrong with that either.
That is so true. So how can someone get in contact with you?
Well, you know what? I mean, you can always email us. You can email us at consulting at gogreenllc.com. You can follow us on Go Green LLC. You can give us a call in our office, 201-589-2630. Or you can get in contact with Banki, and Banki will get in contact with us.
Yes, definitely.
you know? Listen, it's all about the takeout effect, right? You
Yes, it is.
you guys, you and Jamie are doing some amazing things up in Toronto.
Thank
Amazing.
you.
And I like what you guys doing. You guys take business serious. You give us a platform to talk about business, and we really appreciate you guys for even having us. It's a great um um it's a great deal for us being here right now. And thanks for taking out the time to do that.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So everyone, thank you. For those who are watching, please feel free to like and share. And thank you everyone for tuning in. We had an excellent show today with a wonderful guest, Jarrod Greene. And thank you, Jarrod, for taking the time to talk to us today. And have yourself a great day, everyone.
You and Jamie. All right. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.